What's going on, everybody? This is Luke from South Beach Sports, and today we have a lot of big-time Dolphins news to get into. We're going to start off today by talking about the pick exchange the Dolphins made with the 49ers, and then with the Eagles, in which they initially traded back with the 49ers, and then proceeds to trade up with the Eagles to acquire the 6th overall pick. We'll be talking about that. I'll be giving my opinions on that, and then we will talk about the potential Kyle Pitts to Miami movement, which I am pushing heavily. I am a huge fan of Kyle Pitts, and I will explain why it would make a lot of sense for the Dolphins to draft him and explain what Kyle Pitts would bring to the Miami Dolphins. Now, I'm going to start off today's episode by talking about the draft pick exchange that the Dolphins made with the 49ers and the Eagles. Now, I'm not going to talk about each trade individually because I believe that both of these trades were made as one. So I'll get into the compensation that the Dolphins received from both of these trades combined. So the Dolphins acquired in 2021 the 6th overall and the 156th overall draft picks. In 2022, they acquired a 3rd round draft pick. And in 2023, they acquired an additional 1st round draft pick. For this boatload of picks, the Dolphins will have to give up a 2021 3rd overall pick, which is where the Dolphins were originally set to pick, and the 123rd overall draft pick. Now, I am a really big fan of this move that the Dolphins made. I think Chris Grier at least has an idea of who he wants to select at 6, and I believe that the guy he was going to draft at 3 is probably going to be there at 6. So he is basically grabbing an extra 1st round pick and then some for drafting the same exact player he was going to draft initially. This is some genius general manager work by Chris Grier. And another thing I like about this trade that's not really listed here in the tweet that I'm reading by Matt Infante on Twitter is that in 2022 the Dolphins traded away their own 1st round pick to the Eagles while keeping San Francisco's 2022 1st round pick. With this trade, I believe the Dolphins are really betting on themselves and betting that they will be better than the 49ers, who will likely be heading into next season with a rookie quarterback. Now, to transition to the main topic of today's video regarding why I believe the Dolphins should draft Kyle Pitts, I first want to mention that the Dolphins will likely have the option of selecting one of the first 4 top receivers / tight ends in the draft in Kyle Pitts, Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, and Jalen Waddle, as the first 4 selections will likely be quarterbacks, with the 5th selection in my opinion being Penei Sewell from Oregon, as I believe the Bengals will be looking to add as much protection to their young quarterback Joe Burrow as possible, with Burrow still recovering from that ACL injury he suffered last season. Now, again, to Pitts, he is a 6'6", 246-pound player, which means he is very developed and has an NFL-like body already. He ran a pre-pro day 40-yard dash time of 4.46, and I just want to preface that by saying he might run a different time in his pro day, which is scheduled today at the time of the recording of this video. So I just want to avoid any confusion that there might be. So his pre-pro day 40-yard time is both lower than Travis Kelce's and George Kittle's, who are both considered to be the top 2 tight ends in the NFL today. And his 40-yard time is lower than both DeAndre Hopkins and Devontae Adams, who both ran a 4.57 and 4.65 respectively. Now, his 40-yard time is the same as Darren Waller's, who ran a 4.46. Now, I believe that Pitts and Waller will both compare each other from a skill point perspective, and I'll get into that later in this video. Now, again, to Pitts' receiving numbers from last year at Florida, he had 43 receptions, 770 receiving yards, 12 touchdowns to go along with a 17.9 yards per catch average, and he did all of this in only 8 games, which is very impressive. Now, he also won the John Mackey Award last year, which is awarded to college football's best and most accomplished tight end of the year. So he is a very accomplished college athlete, and he is only 20 years old, which means he has a lot of room for growth and improvement in the NFL. Now, before getting into his skill set, I first want to advise everyone to go watch his Kentucky game film from last year. I will link that in the description down below. Now, he is a fantastic route runner for his size. His routes are all very crisp, and his movements are not clunky or sluggish at all. One of my problems, I would say, with Mike Gesicki, the Dolphins' current tight end, is that while he is a very good receiving threat, sometimes he feels very clunky or slow at times. You will not see that with Pitts. Pitts is not only is he fast vertically, but is a very quick player. Now he would also be a great red zone threat, as he had 12 touchdowns last year at Florida, many of them coming from the red zone. He knows how to use his size, and he will provide any team which drafts him a very consistent and reliable red zone threat. Now he also has a lot of yards after catch potential with his breakaway speed, as you will see in the Kentucky game film, which again I am linking down in the description down below. He will also be a factor in the vertical game, similar to how Jimmy Graham was a factor in New Orleans. Now he can play everywhere on the field, and at Florida he was pretty much used everywhere on the field, whether that's in the boundary or the slot or as an H-back. He is a very versatile player, and he should and will be used as such. Now, probably the biggest red flag that a lot of NFL scouts and experts have about Pitts is about his blocking capabilities. I've watched a lot of game film, and I can come away with that by saying that Pitts is actually a decent run blocker and a decent blocker in the screen and short passing game. I don't think he'll ever be a mauler or someone that just obliterates defenders, but he does hold his own in those two areas of blocking. Now, as a pass blocker, Pitts was rarely used at Florida, and in all honesty, I don't think that NFL teams will want to keep a weapon like Pitts as a pass blocker, so I don't think that's really that much of a major concern. Now, some Dolphins fans might be wondering why they would draft a tight end when they already have a top 10 tight end in the NFL currently in Mike Gesicki. The Dolphins could use Pitts and Gesicki in a two tight end system, which is very similar to what the Pats ran in the early 2010s with both Rob Gronkowski and Aaron Hernandez. Now lastly, I just want to get into what Pitts might bring to the Dolphins if they were to draft him. He would give the Dolphins a very consistent red zone threat, as both Devontae Parker and Preston Williams both struggled with drops last year, and Pitts has very good hands coming out of college. He would also bring a versatility to the Dolphins' passing game, as he, like I said earlier, he can line up as an H-back, in the slot, in the boundary, so there's really no area where Pitts cannot line up. He would also give Tua Tagovailoa a very good threat in the short to intermediate passing game, which is the area of Tua's game which he excels the most. So that's going to be it for today's video, guys. I am very sure we'll talk about Kyle Pitts again as we get closer to the NFL draft. If you enjoyed today's video and if you enjoy content like this, please go ahead and like and subscribe. That'll help this growing channel a lot. Lastly, go ahead and comment down below what are your thoughts on Kyle Pitts, and if you want the Dolphins to go ahead and draft him in this year's NFL draft. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.